Good afternoon. I'll call the June 2016 Board of Zoning Appeals order. Farley, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Remain standing for a moment of silence.
Gary Farley.
Here.
Veronica Buchanan. Zane Cantrell. Joe Machado.
Here.
Michael Rather.
Here.
Jared Barrett.
Here.
Jerry Sartain.
Present. We do have a quorum. Mr. Rather will be voting today as an alternate. Do I have anyone would like to make an approval for the May 11th, 2016 minutes or changes?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Minutes are approved. Our first item by Tavares King, 31 Wade Road. Do we have someone that is representing this request? If you would come forward, and I'll ask the staff to give us the details.
Thank you. Application BZA 2016-34 is a request for special exception approval for the placement of a single-wide mobile home on a tract less than 5 acres. The property is located in the RL zone. The site is a 3.5 acre site located just off Raid Road, which is located off Lebanon Highway. And the applicant appeared before you last year to build an accessory structure prior to the principal. At the time, it was his intention to kind of provide like an apartment within the accessory structure whenever he became ready. However, his plans have changed and he would like to place a single-wide mobile home on the property for his residents. The accessory structure that was permitted last year was built as proposed by the applicant, and you can see this from the photo here. And it's just a matter of that his plans have changed within the year and he would like to have a single wide on the property. We have not received any phone calls in opposition to this request. And as you can see where the pole barn is located and the septic field and the mobile home will be brought in to be, and obviously required to meet the setbacks for the RL zone. And that concludes our presentation.
Thank you. Would you state your name and your address for the staff, please?
Tavares King, 8212 Lebanon Road, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Okay.
Do you have anything to add? Want to tell us a little bit what you want to do out there?
That's pretty much it.
Any questions? I'll open this for a public hearing for anyone in the audience who'd like to speak in favor or in opposition. I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Chairman, I make a motion we approve the request with staff comments.
Second.
I'll second it.
Call a roll, please.
Gary Farley.
Yes.
Veronica Buchanan. Joe Machado.
Yes.
Michael Rather.
Yes.
Jerry Sartain.
Yes, it is approved. Second item is Veterans Parkway Church of Christ on 488 Veterans Parkway. If we have someone representing this request, would you come forward while we hear the details?
Application 2016-35 is filed by Veterans Parkway Church of Christ. They are seeking special exception approval for medium community assembly use in the RM zone. The site is a 3.12 acre site that's currently developed as a religious facility. And the applicant is proposing to build an additional 2,800 square foot addition to their sanctuary area that will end up increasing their number of attendees from less than 150 to 250. And because of it going past the threshold of 150, they are required to obtain special exception approval from the Board of Zoning Appeals, as they fall into the medium category. They will need to, before they obtain building permits, go through site plan review to demonstrate that all of the development standards have been met. These are photos of the existing site. We have not received any calls in opposition to this request. And this is a site plan. It's subject to change, obviously, as a result of site plan review. And that concludes our presentation.
Thank you. Would you give us your name and address, please?
My name is Manley Thweet. I'm a member of the congregation there. I'm also work for Huddleston Steel Engineering, who is assisting with the plans here. She's done a very good job of presenting the information. I certainly will entertain any questions that you may have.
Questions? We'll open this for a public hearing for anyone who'd like to speak in favor or in opposition of this request. Close the public hearing. I'll entertain a motion.
I move for approval.
Have a second?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Gary Farley,
Yes.
Veronica Buchanan, Joe Machado,
Yes.
Michael Rather,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
It is approved.
Thank you.
Next application is by Jerry Kane, Patterson Hill Road. We have someone representing this request. If you will come forward, and the staff will give our details.
2016-36 involves property located off Patterson Hill Road. It's a 9.2 acre parcel. They are seeking special exception approval for the establishment of an accessory structure prior to the principal for this property in the RL zone. The applicant wishes to construct the accessory structure to store items in a secure manner until he is able to build the primary residence upon the property. It's anticipated that the construction of the residence will occur within 2 years. These are photos of the surrounding area. This is the subject property. We posted a sign on the property. We've received a couple informational calls regarding this request. And the applicant has supplied us with a plan indicating the approximate location of where the accessory structure will be located, and then in the future, the house will be located closer to the septic field. And that concludes our presentation.
Give us your name and address, please.
My name is Jerry Kane. I live at 2623 Cross Park Drive, Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Any questions? I have one. You're building this structure first. What are you gonna do with this structure?
My plan was to start the house next year, presumably next summer, if I can get everything, all my plans and everything lined up.
This accessory structure will be used for what?
I need to store some vehicles and equipment there and some building supplies.
Questions? We'll open this for a public hearing. Anyone who'd like to speak in favor or in opposition? We'll close the public hearing. I'll entertain a motion.
I would like to make a motion to approve without, subject to all staff comments.
Second.
Motion and a second. Call
Gary Farley,
Yes.
Veronica Buchanan, Joe Machado,
Yes.
Michael Rather,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain.
Yes, it is approved. Next application is by Ricky Moore for Big Springs Road. We have someone representing that request. I'd appreciate you come forward, and the staff will give us the details.
Application 2016-37, filed by Ricky Moore, involves property located at Big Springs Road. It's a 7.5-acre parcel. They are seeking approval for the establishment of an accessory structure before the principal in the RL zone. The existing property is the 7.5 acres comprised of 2 pieces, which is cut in half by Big Springs Road. There is an existing agricultural structure on the property. The applicant would like to construct a storage building towards the rear of the property for personal storage not related to agricultural functions. I don't see that the applicant intends to build a principal structure in the near future. However, we have not received any calls in opposition to this request. These are photos of the surrounding area and the site itself. And as you can see, the location of the proposed structures towards the rear of the property behind a tree line. And that concludes our presentation.
Give us your name and address, please.
Ricky Moore, 616 Craner Road, Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Would you like to share what your plans are out there?
Just going to use it for some personal storage.
Questions from the board? Gary?
So it's going to be this way for quite some time, just for storage, and you're not going to be living out there?
No, sir. Not at the time. I'm not.
Hopefully you won't turn it into, just a place to keep your, junk and junk cars and a lot of other, unwanted, unsightly things, hopefully.
No, sir. No, sir. It'll stay clear.
Anyone else? I'll open this for a public hearing. Anyone who'd like to speak in favor or in opposition? I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve?
Second it.
Call the roll, please.
Gary Farley,
Yes.
Veronica Buchanan,
Yes.
Joe Machado,
Yes.
Michael Rather,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain.
Yes, it is passed. Thank you. BZA application 2016-38 on 1409 Sweet Spire Drive. If we have someone representing this request, I'd appreciate you coming forward, and the staff will give us their details.
Application 2016-38 involves a property located at 1409 Sweet Spire Drive. It's a .39 acre parcel located in the subdivision. It's RM, medium density residential, and they are seeking special exception approval for a major home-based business of a fitness studio on this property. The applicant has submitted a written detail of what they're proposing to do, and it's been included in your information, the staff reports. And what they're proposing to use their garage for is a fitness studio. It measures about 480 square feet, this garage, and they'll conduct 2 hour-long classes per day with the exception of Sundays. They will limit their classes to no more than 5 attendees at one time, and these classes will be pre-booked online. No one can just show up to the property and take a class. The applicant indicates that they do provide, will be able to provide parking in the driveway. The driveway, according to the applicant, measures 71 feet by 24 feet, and they indicate that that's enough to accommodate 6 cars, in addition to the resident and 1 non-resident person that will work at the proposed fitness studio. The applicant indicates in their written description that they're in development of another site. They're obtaining the permits, and this will be a temporary site until their more permanent facility is complete. They anticipate that it will be complete in December, and this will just allow them to build their client base until that time. We have received several phone calls with concerns about the traffic and the parking within the subdivision. They're concerned about the precedent that allowing a home-based business of this kind to operate from the site, that it will set for the community. We have received some written correspondence from residents as well as the board of directors for the homeowners association with their concerns. However, it should be noted that we do not enforce covenants and restrictions for subdivisions, and I think that we inform people as well that that's, not the zoning ordinances what we're charged with. However, I think they just wanted us to be apprised of how they see their subdivision playing out, or how they want the community to remain as a residential community, not with businesses being located or people operating businesses from their home of this scale. So these are photos of the surrounding area and the site itself. And the applicant's just shown us an outline of where the site is, where the driveway is going to be located, and the garage in relation to the driveway. And that concludes our presentation.
Thank you, Danielle. Would you give us your name and your address, please?
Yes, Kurt Garrett, 1409 Sweet Spar Drive, Murfreesboro, 37128.
Would you like to share any more details other than what we've heard?
Yes, as noted on that HOA, you'll see I'm the president of the HOA, so I abstained from that letter, just an integrity component of that. Our HOA actually had to redo our bylaws last year, and I was a part of that. And part of that is, it's not that they, if you look, just read that letter, it actually says there's no visible sign of a business taking place, then it is allowable from that standpoint. So it's not, I know the HOA kind of doesn't necessarily play a part of county, but just to kind of clarify that if y'all read through that letter. Also, the parking situation, just to notate, we're very conscious of our neighbors. Our driveway is a double driveway, and it's straight away. If you notice, the other driveway surrounding usually has a slender onset and then a wider element to it, and ours is a double driveway all the way through. So technically, we said 6, but if you pull all the way up, you probably could fit 8 cars in there if you had to, but we, just for the sake of dimensions and different vehicle sizes, we didn't include those other cars. So we're very conscious on that. Everything's pre-booked and screened online, so you can't show up. And again, this is temporary, as she stated. The building we're looking at going into, TDEC has let go of a couple people, so the building of that project has been delayed. We hope it's the end of December. It might be a few months after that, but this is the temporary in the sense of building that clientele until we move into that permanent location.
So are you saying that December will not be long enough?
Since our application, we've been waiting on that TDEC to come back. They have come back and approved. We're waiting on the grading permit to the space that we're looking at going into. It should be December. I just hate to say December and something get delayed by a month or two. But just want to apprise you all of that. That's just, apparently there's been some changes over there at the TDEC side.
Do you have any questions? Gary?
I got a question. You made a statement that in your covenants that if it's visible, if the business is visible.
Yes, sir.
Would you not think that if you had 8 cars in a driveway, 2-3 hours a day, 6 days a week, that would not be a visible sign that there is a business or something going on in a subdivision? Great
question. My thought behind that, just to counteract to what you're saying, if we had 4 kids at our house, we only have 2. My wife, well, I have a child, but my wife and our child, he's 4. We only have 2 cars. So if someone has 6 cars, 8 cars in their driveway, are they allowed to have visitors? That's kind of, if we have a Bible study we could have a Bible study every day too, and we'd host one at our church. So would it be a visible sign? I don't consider that a visible sign in that regard.
Every day?
Not on Sundays, only 6 days.
I'm talking about 6 days a week.
For
Every day,
55 minutes.
You don't think it'd be a visible sign?
We have I guess we disagree with that, but no outside visible sign other than cars being on the driveway.
I mean, we're going to have to agree to disagree, and I respect you on your
Yeah, and I
thoughts.
respect yours as well, absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up.
Mr. Chairman, could I ask a question? Thank you.
Absolutely.
The facility that you're looking to move into, where is that?
Campus Drive, it's behind, I don't know if you're familiar with the Parthenon.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now. Yes, sir.
There's a
I'm good. Thank you.
Patterson,
I know what you're talking
yeah,
about.
so, business campus, I think it's actually, yeah, sorry, yeah.
Any other questions? I'll open this for a public hearing for anyone who'd like to speak for or against. If you'll come around, come to the podium and give us your name and address.
Hello, my name is Jason Mathis, and I seek the disapproval of this business they're trying to start. And let me start by saying I think that Kurt and Lacey Garrett are wonderful people. I really do, and I hate to stand here opposing them. However, 9 years ago, I moved into the subdivision, Rachel's Place subdivision, and it's moderately expensive homes. We have curbs and sidewalks. It's a county, Rutherford County subdivision that we take pride in having sidewalks and curbs. The roads are a little unusually narrow because of the sidewalks and curbs. There are a lot of children in our neighborhood. I, for one, have an 11 and a 9-year-old, 2 little girls that live in the neighborhood that love to ride their bikes, and I know the Garretts have children as well. One of the reasons I'm opposed to this is I think we're going to start a pattern of the possibility of other people in the neighborhood wanting to get a business started in their neighborhood. And I know they say that, you know, they would only have 5 people there at once. And one of the things that I had to bring to your attention, and if you guys would look at these pictures, I don't know if I can give these to you or not. That's perfectly fine. I made a copy for everyone. These pictures were actually sent to me from a neighbor. And what it would show is it would show that Mr. Garrett has a vehicle and Mrs. Garrett has a vehicle. There is another business partner with them. That would be 3 vehicles. If they have 5 people there, that's 8 vehicles. If you look at the picture, there's no way that 8 vehicles can fit in that driveway. There's going to be at minimum 2 vehicles in the roadway. Again, I have to say that it has nothing to do with the type of business that they're trying to do. And again, I think these people, I think they would do the right thing. I think they're wonderful people. I don't think they're trying to hurt the integrity of the neighborhood. However, I think we're opening up the door for disaster for our neighborhood. I think that it's a possibility. Or is everyone going to try and start a business? Maybe not. But I think we're starting something. There's no businesses anywhere near this. I mean, we're right in the middle of the county. The subdivision, really, if you didn't know it was there, you would miss it. But I have to say, a business of this type, I go to a local gym here in town, and I've almost been hit by people leaving that local gym because when they're in there working out, they're not using their cell phones. And let's face it, in today's age, we have these smartphones, and what do? As soon as we get out of the gym or as soon as we get out of work, we get on those phones and we start texting and driving, or we start browsing and driving. And if these children are driving up and down on these streets with their bicycles or skateboards or walking, is the possibility of somebody backing them over? It's there. And that concerns me. It concerns me a whole lot. I don't think that this is a neighborhood for a business, and I know that they asked for it temporary. I appreciate that. However, the paperwork that was here wasn't asked for temporary. It was asked for a special exemption. And I think if we start an exemption, we start this in this neighborhood, we're opening up the door. Who are you going to tell next? We've recently had an incident in our neighborhood where an individual has had a pit bull attack a family animal. What if somebody asks you guys if they can open up a dog kennel in their home, inside their home? No one's going to hear the dogs barking, but what if they raise pit bulls? Are you going to tell them yes as well? So I do have a great concern for that.
I will say that the board takes into account, and we have guidelines to go by about having impact upon the neighborhood, so those things are considered.
Thank you.
The pictures you gave us, are they of that home or just a similar home?
No, that's of their home. In fact, I was actually written 2 different letters from neighbors in the neighborhood, one of which could not be here. One of them didn't want to be here because they felt like that it would cause problems. They have to live really close to the Garretts. And again, I stand here. in a bad opposition because I care about these people. They're fine people, and it hurts me to have to go up against them. But, you know, the letters they wrote, that picture was along one of them. It said every Saturday morning, that's what they have to see, or cars parked on the street. And that is a very small cul-de-sac, and they're at the corner of one of the main entrances in that cul-de-sac. So their property lines, once you factor in the driveways and the driveways of other people, you park 2 cars on the road, and that kind of eats up their entire property line. And if you look at the pictures that we sent out, I mean, it would be easy to back out and run over a child or an animal or another car. Just not paying attention. I mean, it could happen to anyone, whether they're running a business or not, and I just want to minimize that in this neighborhood.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Mathis?
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lacey Garrett, and I'm Kirk's wife. I'm actually the business owner, and I live at 1409 Sweet Spire Drive. I wanted to bring to your attention that actually, I'm glad I saw this photo because this photo was taken a really long time ago. We did not know that there were rules in place for how many people you could have in the county for a major home-based business, which is 5 people at a time, 2 times a day. So this photo actually is very old. We never park in this street now, and when I say never, sometimes my husband has to pull his car for 5 minutes before he leaves for work into the street, but that other van is never there. We always only have 1 resident and then 5 other cars, so 6 total in our driveway. And so this is actually quite some time ago and has not happened for quite some time. Yeah.
Go ahead.
This is going to come across wrong, but I don't take it that way.
Okay.
But has the size of the driveway changed from this picture?
No, the size of the driveway has
Oh,
not changed.
it's
Not
still
at
the
all.
same size.
Same exact driveway. We haven't touched anything. We just learned that the rule in the county was 5 people at a time, 2 times a day. And so we didn't realize that that was a rule. And so we changed. So if you'll see in the paper that we wrote, there's only ever 2 to 5 people at a time in our garage, and they always must park on the driveway, including the instructor. And we actually work really, really hard. We get up really early, and we move our other cars to the other business owner's house, so they're out of the street now. There's never any people in the street.
So so during the whole day, 6 days a week, if you had 5 attendees there.
And 1 other car, 6 vehicles ever at any one time. Just 6 vehicles, 1 resident / teacher, and 5 others. And sometimes there's not 5. Sometimes we only have 2 come. Sometimes we only have 5.
So there could be, during the day, there could be up to a total of 12 cars.
Never a total of 12 cars, no.
During the whole day?
Two separate visits. So my understanding is the county rule is you can have 5 customers at one time, 2 times a day. So 5 at one time, and then another 5 at another time. And our classes don't overlap, so like it's 6:45 in the morning, there'll be typically women, moms, stay-at-home moms, coming to class while their husbands are watching their kids while they're in bed. So, and to address the driving, worried about people driving crazy in the neighborhood, most of them are moms that come to my class. So I know they're concerned for children as well.
Michael?
You said this was taken quite some time ago?
I'm not sure the date, but just by noting that there's cars in the street, we don't have that many people come. We learned about the rule and we followed it.
You think 2 weeks ago, 6
Oh,
months
no,
ago?
no. I would say 6 weeks ago.
Was there a class going on at this time?
I don't know from this picture. It could have been like a party. It could have been, we had a little party showing our garage, what we did to it, to make it pretty.
House, right?
That is my house, correct.
You don't know who was there?
What's that?
You don't know who was there?
Well, I don't know all these specific cars. I know the minivan is Sarah Cohen, and the black Altima is my husband. And he was that was probably either a morning where he was getting ready to leave for work and he moved it to get out of there. I'm not sure, but I don't have this many cars. If you take away that gold minivan and you take away that black Altima, it's just whoever fits in our driveway, which is what our HOA rules are. No street parking for, not consistent street parking, which we're never consistent street parking ever. What's that?
So the application is to do this, but you guys have already been doing it, right?
Yes, we did not know that we had to apply for this, and so then when we learned the proper order of things, we were sent a letter to go ahead and run this process, and so we're making sure we have all our ducks in a row.
Thank you. Anyone else?
How long have y'all been doing it?
About 6 weeks. I would say 7 weeks. 7 weeks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do we have anyone else who'd like to speak? Quickly.
For the record, the photo that was sent to me, if she says it was 6 weeks ago, I don't know. It was sent to me May 27th, and I was advised by the person that sent it to me that it was taken on a Saturday morning, and that's what they...
Thank you.
It was normal Saturday morning, but I'm not sure when it was taken.
Anyone else? I'll close the public hearing. Do we need to have any more questions?
Mr. Chairman, I don't have any more questions. I'm all for business. I hope these people prosper in their business when they get to the new location. And I hope they make everybody as healthy and fit as they possibly can in their class. But due to the health and safety concerns that I have for the increased traffic and the increased parking in this subdivision, that I want to make a motion that we deny the request for that reason.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Remember, a yes is for a denial. Is that correct? Call a roll, please.
Gary Farley,
Yes.
Veronica Buchanan,
Yes.
Joe Machado,
Yes.
Michael Rather,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain.
Yes, it is denied. Next application is by Will Jordan for an application on Lebanon Pike. I see Mr. Jordan here. If he'll come up and speak to us, I'll ask the staff to provide the details.
Application 2016-39 involves a 10-acre site off of Lebanon Pike. It's a request for special exception approval for the establishment of a mini storage business upon a property in the commercial services zone. The subject property's 10 acres, it's vacant. It was recently rezoned to CS just in April, was that correct? And it was the applicant had made known during that application stage for rezoning that their intentions were to develop a mini storage facility upon this property. So I'm scrolling through photos of the site and going to the concept plan. They will have to go through site plan approval or site plan review and receive approval from, at the time of site plan review, they'll have to demonstrate meeting our standards for mini storage facilities, which means buffering, setbacks, the materials that are used that are along the front right-of-way frontage, that sort of thing. Once the applicant obtains site plan approval, then they can go through the building permit stage. As you can see, the applicant has carved out 2 out parcels and plans to develop the rear of the property with an access through the middle of the site as the mini storage facility. We have distance requirements between structures, certain driveway widths, that sort of thing will be considered during the site plan review. We did not receive any calls of opposition to this request. And that is the aerial of the site. We feel that the establishment of the mini storage facility here probably will not have such a major impact to this area that is already impacted by the existence of the landfill. We have some non-residential uses to the north of the site that have been rezoned within the last few years. So we were seeing a trend for this particular area. And that concludes our presentation.
Welcome, Mr. Jordan.
How's everybody today? I'm Will Jordan, 3923 Shacklet Road. We're just trying to continue on this process to build some mini warehouses there. That's what we've told the neighbors now the whole time. We got our zoning in place. Now this is just the next step, and we're not trying to change gears or anything. We're just trying to keep proceeding forward, and if this is approved, we'll be back at some point in time with site plan, but would appreciate, feel free to, I'm glad to answer any questions you have.
Questions? Thank you. We'll open this for a public hearing for anyone who'd like to speak in favor or in opposition. I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
I move to approve it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Gary Farley,
Yes.
Veronica Buchanan,
Yes.
Joe Machado,
Yes.
Michael Rather,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain.
Yes, it is approved. Final application is by Mildred Jones for a piece of property on 5437 Bradeville Pike. If you have someone representing this request, we'll ask you to come forward, and the staff will provide the details. Do we not have anyone representing this request? Would you like to hear it or defer it?
To be honest with you, Mr. Chairman, with what this is, and with the potential of it being a lot of people coming into this venue, I think I would like to hear from the applicant to ask questions, because I have concerns. So I think we need to wait on the applicant to appear.
For the benefit of those who may have come and asked to speak, I will have a public hearing for anyone who would like to speak on this today. You'd like to come forward? Could you give us your name?
Jason Richardson of 5248 Bradyville Pike. I just want to know, I mean, that's such a broad term, event venue. I mean, what are we talking about? A baseball game, a wedding, or, I mean, do we have any idea?
Well, we have certain criteria.
I mean, but.
I'll let the staff answer,
Okay.
but we have certain criteria that they have to follow.
Sure. Within the section that they're applying for is a rural retreat, and it's limited to events like wedding ceremonies, maybe a small family reunion, small events, maybe corporate functions, that type of thing. We have been contacted by persons who were notified of this request that they were concerned about large events like music festivals or that type of thing occurring from this request. The way that our zoning ordinance is structured is that an event of that scale and magnitude would have to come under a different provision of the code. And this particular request, they're limited to what they're requesting. They're limited to the number of events, but it's their intent to hold wedding ceremonies, private parties, that sort of thing, in a building that's being proposed as a 70 by 65 foot barn, square foot, that they're going to construct upon the property should they obtain approval.
My concerns, it was just such a large piece of property on the thing you guys sent. I couldn't imagine.
It is, and you didn't have benefit of the presentation, and sometimes we show the layout of the property and where they're proposing to place the structure. And the existing agricultural buildings will still be used. Ms. Jones will still live on the property. I think her granddaughter or the applicant will also be living on the property. But as you can see, and this only is a portion of the property because it's so large, that they're proposing a new entrance off of Bradyville Pike, some gravel parking, and the barn itself will be located in this area. This is kind of what their ideas are for the event and venue, and you're looking at somewhere around this area. Can you see the mouse on here?
So it is a new structure that's going to be built?
It will be a new structure that's specific for the events, yes.
And I also think it's worth noting that according to the application, no more than 150 guests during the event, and no more than 30 events a year. according to the applicant's letter.
Right. Should they exceed 30 events per year, they would need to rezone the property to a PUD. The applicant has imposed upon themselves 150 would be the maximum that they're planning for. But it is a 200-acre site. They would have to go through some site plan review. They are subject to limitations as far as noise, wind, sound amplification, and outdoor lighting needs to cease. That all of those standards really can't be demonstrated unless they get approval. However, if they were to violate that, they would be put on notice if we would receive the complaint, and it could cause their application to be reconsidered by the board, or their approval could lapse, or they can come into compliance.
Do you have anything else?
No, I mean, like I said, I was completely ignorant to what their plans were, and if you'll notice, my parcel is the one directly across the street from the pond there with the driveway. Literally 3 lots both directions, you know, that's the same family, you know, and then that huge parcel of land. So like I said, I'm the only kind of outsider right in the middle of it, so I had no clue what was.
Well, I appreciate that you came today, and I'm sorry that the applicant didn't show.
I mean, is this like already,
And
I mean, is it
we're
going to be
probably,
approved or?
I don't know what the wishes of the board is going to be, but most likely we're going to defer this until we can get more data, and you'll have an opportunity to speak again. Thank you. Anyone else? I'll entertain a motion if you'd like to defer.
Motion to defer it.
Second.
I'd like to add to that, make sure you contact them and tell them next month to show up, or it might get denied.
Well, a letter was sent out on May 17th, 2016.
I got a question. When this happens, I know they had to pay a fee. Do they have to pay a fee again to come back?
I don't think for a deferral.
They don't know, they wouldn't have to in this situation. The only expense we'd incur at this point is just resending notices, and that's fairly.
So we're going to incur a little bit of cost because they didn't show and they were notified.
Mr. Chairman, I have a quick question for the benefit of the gentleman that did show up. We defer this to next month. If they, for some reason, can't show up on that date and request it for the following month, how do the homeowners in that area know that?
Well, sometimes we don't find out until the day of that they would like to defer, so it is difficult to re-notify everyone. However, if someone, you know, continues to call us up until the day of,
Well, the
we
best
can
thing
let
to do
them
is
know.
call your
Sometimes
office.
we don't know until the last minute, and we were unaware that the applicant was.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there are times, if we know far enough in advance, then we just don't send notices out. And then, you know, a lot of the times property owners will call us and say, well, is that gonna be on the agenda? And we'll say, no, it's not gonna be on there. Wait for the letter for, you know, just whenever it's gonna be, we don't know. But like Danielle said, there are times that, yeah, we may find out the day of that there's not going to be someone present, or they're not going to be able to take it forward. They want to defer it. I mean, there's nothing we can do about that. So when we find out about those situations, we try at the beginning of the meeting to say, this one's been pulled off. If you hear, sorry, you know, kind of a thing. But yeah, I mean, Danielle and I both, you know, we've both had conversations with this applicant. So I think we're both surprised that nobody's here.
Jared?
I know we ran into this on another application. How many times can they defer, or how many times can it be deferred? I know we ran into that on another application a couple of years ago, I think.
Well, as far as how many times an applicant can defer an application, based on the bylaws, I think we give them, was it 3 months, 90 days? Yeah, basically 3 times. After that third time, and this doesn't happen very often, but it has happened with the Planning Commission because we have a similar rule for that. The application, it just dies, and then they have to, at that point, they'd have to resubmit fees and everything. But for this situation, you know, the only fee we're going to incur at this point is a remailing. So, yeah, we wouldn't charge them again at this point.
Gary, to restate your motion to defer, it's for lack of information. We'd like to collect more data to rehear this next month. No.
Yeah, yes.
I'm asking for clarification.
Yeah, due to the applicant not being here, we're not able to receive any data or information concerning this application, and I don't feel comfortable voting on something that the applicant's not told me.
I believe Mr. Machodo is our second. Is that right? Call the roll, please.
Gary Farley,
Yes.
Veronica Buchanan,
Yes.
Joe Machodo,
Yes.
Michael Rather,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain.
Yes, it is deferred. We'll try to get in contact with these people the next month. Is there any other business?
If I could, Mr. Chairman, if I could just update the board on something real quick, thanks. First of all, I want to, join with everybody here welcoming Danielle back. She's been back for a few weeks now, but we missed her terribly, but we're glad she's back. And I know you all would rather look at her than me, and I totally understand that. The other issue I wanted to bring to your attention, at the last pre-meeting, I kind of gave you an update on the change as far as the membership of the Board of Zoning Appeals, going from 5 permanent members and 2 alternates to 7 permanent members. That did pass the county commission at last month's, I guess it was last month's Board of Commissioners meeting. So it'll be 7 full-time, no alternates, and that'll take effect October the 1st. So I think what the plan is at this point, I know there is one term that is coming up, but I think what they're going to do is do 3 of them at once, stagger the terms just a little bit. I think there's going to be 2 5-years and 1 4-year, if I remember right. So just right now, everything's kind of status quo, but in a couple months, I imagine it'll go through the normal process as far as appointments go, steering committee make an announcement, and then, you can apply, the alternates. If you would like to continue serving, you would apply at that point. So
Our
with that-
applicants do need to apply.
Yes, that's my understanding with that, yes, sir. As well as the one permanent, I believe it's Zane's that comes up this year, so he would have to do the same.
Anything else? We are adjourned.